Hey, I'm Tashaka Armstrong, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Tech for the Rest of Us. Today, we're going to be talking about automation. Not Google driverless car automation, but something a little more personal, fitness automation. What if I told you, and I know I'm going to get some Morpheus comments on this video when I say that, but what if I told you that I could provide you with a fitness tracker that you never had to tell when you're walking or when you're going for a run or when you're going cycling? It knows, it's aware, and it's on the market today. The Basis Peak. We're going to take a look at it right now. So what you get with the Basis Peak is you get the watch, you get a magnetic charger that plugs in via USB included cable that it comes with, and that's it. That's pretty much what you get in the box. The Basis Peak has a 190 milliamp hour battery that they say will get you about 4 days worth of use. I did see quite a reasonable amount of use close to that time, although one of the things I did do was every morning when I went to get in the shower, I took the watch off and put it on the charger. And that would be, 15 minutes or so that it was on the charger. And using that, just putting it on the charger for 15 minutes every day, I never lost charge. And I wore it overnight, I wore it to sleep, and again, lasted quite a long time, got quite a few notifications on the watch during that time period as well. The watch, and I'm real thankful for this, is actually water resistant to 5 atmospheres. That's 50 meters. So you can actually shower with the Basis Peak on and it won't suffer water ingress. Because it is water resistant to 5 atmospheres, that means it will withstand the amount of water pressure that your shower actually puts out. I know a lot of people actually, when they see that something's water resistant to a certain depth, they automatically think, oh, I can wear it in the shower. But you have to understand that depth or atmospheres actually places different pressure on a watch than water actually shooting out the jets of a shower. So as you can see, the Basis Peak actually looks like an actual watch instead of just a fitness tracker like many of the fitness trackers. They look more sport oriented, they look more sporty. This one actually looks more like a smartwatch, more like a traditional smartwatch, and it actually is quite a nice watch to wear out with a casual attire. I really enjoyed the look of the watch, and I am a watch wearer, so that's kind of an important thing to me. The silicone strap, these come in black, white, you can get them in leather. They have various options for the straps, and they're easily removable by the little button you see here on the rear. You just pull on that, strap comes right out, you can exchange it for another strap, easy peasy. You'll get sensors galore on the back of the watch. You actually have a skin temperature sensor, you have a heart rate monitor, which uses photocells to actually track your heart rate. You're also going to get a galvanic skin monitor, which measures sweat levels. So it actually also will tell you, it essentially tells the watch that you're wearing it so that it knows to track data. So when you look at the Basis Peak, what are you actually getting in the watch's interface? Well, you navigate the watch's interface through swiping through different screens that will get you through the different functions. So swipe to the right gets you to the initial settings, which shows you that your watch is connected to your smartphone, lets you turn on the do not disturb or restart the watch. You can see that you also have the battery indicator at the top of the screen, as well as the Bluetooth connection icon. When I hit the do not disturb, it takes me to the next screen that allows me to determine whether I want to turn off notifications. Again, it is touch screen, so you just go ahead and touch. To get out of any screen, you can just double tap. Double tapping takes you back to the home screen. You can set alarms and timers with this watch, which will also allow you to set a quiet alarm. So if you want to get up, let's say at 4 a.m. for me, if I'm getting up to go to the gym very early and I don't want to wake my wife while I'm wearing the watch, I can just set it so that it will vibrate instead of making any sound, so that I can get up in the morning, which I'm sure she's quite happy about. There's your heart rate. If you swipe to the left, you keep swiping to the left, and you'll see the amount of steps. You'll see the amount of steps on your last walk, run, or bike. You can also swipe up. You'll see your cumulative, your aggregate steps for the day, as well as the amount of time that you've put into walking or being active. You swipe up from your heart rate, and you'll see your total calories and your total steps for the day. So you get all this information at a glance. When you move around to the rear of the watch, you'll see there are all your sensors, the photocell, photoreceptors, the galvanic skin response, the temperature sensor. It's all back there, letting the watch know what you're doing and how you're doing it throughout the day. It uses a combination of these different, the output, the feedback from these sensors to know automatically when you're moving, when you're walking, running, bicycling. So let's get into the app. Let's look at what information you're going to get out of the Basis Peak when you're using this for your fitness tracking. All righty. So first off, when you're greeted by the dashboard, you're going to see your heart rate. You're going to see your steps that you've taken, your aggregate steps that you've taken already that day. You're going to see the calories you've burned that day. In addition, you're going to have this area here which goes into your habits. So this, again, your first area here, then next area down is your habits. Next area from that is recent activity. So as you can see here, it shows where I went for a little walk. You can see your recent sleep times. I did not wear the watch last night to bed, so it doesn't have that down there. But you'll see your walking, running, cycling, and your sleep times. Back up to the area where it shows your habits. One of the ways that the Basis Peak works to incentivize you to actually use the fitness device is it allows you to set short-term and long-term goals that it tracks daily and kind of rewards you for using, and also will reward you with allowing you to unlock the ability to add more habits to that part of the dashboard. So as you see here, I have a habit going that requires me to torch a certain amount of calories per day, a habit that tells me to wear the watch a certain amount of hours a day. This one you set manually, don't be a sitter. So basically the watch will send you a nice little alert every time you've been sitting for an amount of time that you set up. So for me, I have it set to once an hour. So once an hour, I get buzzed. It lets me know, hey, get up and move around. 30 minutes worth of active time a day. So that's another habit I unlocked and set up. And you can see that following all the other habits and doing them on a consistent basis has unlocked the ability for me to add another habit to my dashboard. So you would just tap on that, and you can see that it gives you options for a bunch of other habits. So an afternoon lap. So you want to set a time maybe every afternoon where you need to go and take another few thousand steps so you can meet your quota for the day, for the week. You can set that up. Consistent bedtime, evening laps, get more sleep, a morning lap, getting up at a regular time, going for a run, or increasing your step count. Here it has 10,000 steps. So that's add habit. And again, you unlock those every few hundred steps or every so often when you've actually been doing something with consistency. I went for a little walk for lunch, so you can see my heart rate, you can see all the information there. You can even share that information to your social networks. One of the cool things when you're sharing your fitness routines, if you choose to do so with your friends and family on any social network, is you can take a picture of yourself to add in with that. Let's just go ahead and do that. And now the picture is added as a background to your information. You can also tag that with GPS, and it'll show a little map background there. So you have a few things you can add to this image that you're going to share if you choose to share that information online with friends and family. So going through the menus here, you also can see, we went through habits. Here's your activity feed. We'll show you what the sleep looks like. So here are a few things that I've done, walking, getting out and about. And here's my sleep for Monday night. I really like, as opposed to some of the other sleep tracking apps I've seen, I really do like this app's version of sleep tracking. I really like the way it presents the data. It's very easy to read, very easy to understand, the way it's color-coded, the way it's laid out, the way it's charted, very simple. And I've found it to be very accurate. I've found that even though I'm not telling the watch when I'm going to sleep, it really knows. Because obviously I take mark of when I'm going to sleep and when I wake up. And then when I look at the app, I see that it actually has recorded those times. So very accurate, works very well. You can see how many times you've tossed and turned. You can see how long you've spent in REM or deep sleep, or REM sleep. Then you can see how long you've been in deep sleep. You can see how long you've been in light sleep, how many interruptions you've had. So there's various information that it records. And like I said, I have to say it is pretty spot on, pretty accurate there in terms of its ability to actually automatically know when you've been sleeping, when you haven't. The only caveat you're going to run into with the sleep cycles is that if you are sitting on the couch doing an Uber marathon of Netflix binging, and you've been really still, it may think you're sleeping then. So if you're watching a 2-hour movie and you are just darn near comatose in your movie watching, the watch will actually think that you've been asleep, because what it does is with its 3-axis accelerometer, the watch itself actually knows and takes note of when you've been moving. So again, if you're hardcore on that couch and not moving, the watch is going to think you've been sleeping, and it's going to chart it as such. So going to the next function, charting, you can see my heart rate, you can see steps taken, you can see calories burning, you see it in a nice little graph down here. You can open those graphs up, you can expand them and dig into the details if you really want to. So that's on your chart. So if you've gone for a run, you've gone for a bike ride, you'll get that information. The device itself, you can see all your statistics on the device itself. When you go into that tab, you can tell it to sync the data right then and there, update the firmware, all kinds of functions. So that's right there in the device menu. Playground. Playground is where you go and you set up some of the functions on the watch. You can set up distance tracking to see how far you've gone, instant message notification, and as you can see here, this is where you can also turn on the ability to receive notifications from other apps. So you'll turn that on here. Then you'll go back into the settings, and as you can see here, this is where you have your notifications. And once you've gone into this menu, into the notifications menu, you can turn everything on one by one. It has, you can see the basic apps here, your phone calls, email, messages, calendar, instant messages. So right there you see it has the basic notifications, but then you hit this little drop down arrow in other apps, and that takes you into a menu that allows you to add the apps that you want to track from your phone. So I've added the calendar, Google Voice, Google Plus, and Outlook, but you can hit the plus down here and then go through all the apps on your phone and add those at will. So you can have as many apps whitelisted, sending notifications to your watch, or as few apps as you want. And if you get annoyed because it's sending too many, just hit the little X there and you remove those notifications from your watch. So it's very straightforward, and I think it's very intuitive in terms of what it does. The only caveat I found is that when I'm using Google Fit to track data, it doesn't move the information over to the MyFitnessPal app, which I'm going to go into a second just to show you kind of why I use that with these watches, with the fitness trackers when I do. So that's pretty much everything in the Basis Peak app. Like I said, really well laid out. You can see when you've done your last sync here right at a glance. And it really is intuitive. And I really do like, and you can see it syncing right there, I really do like the functions that let me see right at a glance, steps, calories, recent activity, again, if I'd worn it last night, the recent sleep, and it's pretty powerful. And that's it. That's the Basis Peak. It isn't perfect, but just like any other technology, it has its strengths, has its weaknesses, and as long as you go into it knowing exactly what you're going to get out of it, I think you'll actually be happy with the purchase. Like I said, it does what it does consistently, and I haven't had any issues with it. If this video's helped you, please like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. And if you have any other questions about the Basis Peak or anything else we've reviewed, please leave it in the comments section below. We do answer those comments. We'll get right to it. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Tashaka Armstrong.